The fire that was lit in me as a child is still burning. But now, I think about how we pass that fire on. How do we keep the spirit of Carnival alive? Not just for next year, but for the next generation. It's about education. It's about legacy. It's about building systems that honor the past while imagining the future. Carnival must not only survive, it must grow, evolve, and inspire. This is where tradition becomes transformation.
I'm Desmond Long, but with regards to the Calypso vibes, Carnival vibes really, I'm known as the Mighty Pep, and I have been in the Calypso arena since 1986, until I kind of made my way out sometime about 2019, but I've been there all these years, over 40 plus years, in the Calypso arena, and 8 times Calypso Monarch, so it's been a wonderful, gracious time throughout all these years.
I'm Dezral Long, and for the Carnival season, I sing Calypso. I've been in the game for about 4 years now, and hopefully seeing what's to come in the future.
When I started off in Calypso, at that time, that was in the mid-80s, there was nothing really show-wise, in St. Lucia that you could go out and, excel in. I was mainly into pop music at that time. I mean, I'd been in a number of shows, been singing in the hotels, and the only thing for us in pop music at that time was to either wait until you had the competitions like the bodybuilding competition where you were put on as a guest artist, okay, or there were times when you just get a few gigs in the hotel and this sort of thing. And that was not really the kind of thing I wanted to get into, because my passion is music, and I like a wide cross section of music, reggae and everything. But when I was at school at St. Mary's College, we decided to have a Calypso competition, and that was sometime in 1978. I was crowned king that time. The following year, I placed second to the man Buffalo, believe it or not. And then I moved on to the A-level college at that time, and I decided with a couple of us, Damian Greaves, and we decided to continue the Calypso thing up at the A-level college. So we had the first show we had, I won that year. From there, I moved on I went to study at the Calypso campus to do my first degree. And lo and behold, I didn't know they had Calypso competitions there too. So I decided to take part in the Calypso competition at Calypso campus. And for 3 years, I won the crown all 3 times. So when I came back to St. Lucia in 1985, I decided, well, I will try and throw my hat into the Calypso scene down here, because that was the only real big show at the time. In 1986, I decided to join, to compete. And my first experience, I came first runner-up to the Invader, and I bounced up with Mr. Sion, Ron Sion at that. Well, after that, I met with Ron Sion at the St. Mary's College. We were both teaching at the time, and then we decided to join forces, because he's a good writer, and the suggestion was, Pep, you came first runner-up. What if we combine, and I write for you, you do the music, because I'm into composing, I'm a composer, So he said, if he writes and I compose, let us see what can happen after that. Maybe you might win, and at least that will, things might, be even bigger. So we did that, and in 1987, we won the crown. 1988, we came in, we won the crown again, and it went on like that for the first few years.
Calypso and music has always been a part of my life, even before I knew myself. I mean, my father would always be making music, composing, producing, just everything. And sometimes I'd be sitting with him at the computer. So it's been a part of me for a long time. I never really had interest in the competition like Junior Calypso, and well, at that time I was more into rap and all that kind of stuff. Until Legacy, I believe 2018, Mr. Francis asked me to perform a bagage with my father. And well, I love performing. I always love performing. I started at 5 performing one of my father's songs again. And after that, everybody's asking, when you coming in the arena, when you coming? And I was like, nah, that's not really why. I just wanted to perform the song because I like the song. But then I started thinking about it, and in 2022, yeah, I told my mom that, I want to try. And she told him, and he was like, you sure? And yeah, so that's how it began. But Calypso has always been there, every year, hearing the songs, because we have a studio at home, so hearing the songs day in, day out, when I go into school, coming from school, so it's always been a part. So it's nothing that was very far from me. It was very easy to get into.
We're thinking as to who's the one, if we had to continue writing, which Calypsonian we would write for and this sort of thing. We're thinking of getting, a fresh Calypsonian to start from, a young, fresh Calypsonian to start from scratch. And well, the COVID came in for a whole year, there was nothing happening. And when time came that Calypso was back on track in 22, Dezral told his mother that, I guess she was teasing him about it too, about wanting to go and sing. Because you wouldn't believe, when he was 5 years old, he was on stage and he sang a song that what to me was a complex song as Blue. And I was shocked because it's heavy lyrics, heavy metaphors and things, a little more a complicated song. And not only that, a long song, 4 verses, very long verses, and it was in a minor key. And he came on stage and sang the entire song word for word. And I never knew that he knew the song so well because, at 5 years old, who's going to learn a long calypso? And he sang all four verses flawlessly. Usually it was Ron Sion. The idea came to him that we can write a song about the legacy, because if you're going out, you're going to pass on this legacy to your son. So that idea came and we went with that. We composed the song, and just the music and the feel and the vibe of the song, we figured that was going to be a big one. So we decided to go with him, and then he blew it away. As a matter of fact, he said he felt more comfortable singing on the big stage than in the cultural center. So I'll never forget when the stage was built that year, right, on the SAB. He wanted us to take him to the stage so that he could be on it to see what it feels like. So he went to the SAB, checked the stage, and he was feeling comfortable. So he executed the songs well, and he became king, And so from then we said, well, all right, we have somebody to continue the legacy, And it was not a difficult choice for us to let him, go in and continue.
I do a lot of work. Well, I won't say a lot of work, but I do the necessary work behind the scenes. So, well, that was unintentional. But before the first legacy where I performed a bagage, I was already practicing how I would perform it if I had to. Like all 2, 3 in the morning, I'd be outside just dancing, just practicing. So I already envisioned it, so that's where I kind of had the confidence. So it wasn't just going up and doing it. I practiced in the bathroom, I watched in the mirror, I think about what I'm going to do, and all that kind of stuff. Alright, so well, it starts off by getting the song. So I have to learn the song first, word for word. And then when I'm comfortable with singing the song, I don't have to think about the lyrics, then I can focus on performing and what I want. Well, the performance is heavily influenced by the music because you're performing and dancing to the music. So I listen to it in headphones or out loud, and I see what I can do, where, what move. So most of it is just, I'll just be doing a freestyle or whatever, and I say, all right, I like that, I'll take that. And yeah, that's mostly how it goes. But you have to understand the song first. You understand what the writer is trying to say. Because even for the Biggest Gun, the Juju song, there were still many metaphors and stuff I didn't get after listening to the song almost every day. So you have to really understand what the song is saying and trying to do, and then translate that in your movement and performance and delivery.
There's a criteria to judge you. So when you write your songs, you know, you have to write to criteria. You know, there's a lot in terms of the lyrics, the topic, you know, and all this sort of thing. What topics are best suited and so forth. So basically you have to prepare yourself for a competition. You have to know, based on the criteria, where you're going to score points to win. And so writing your songs will be dependent on that. So you have a strong competition with strong competitors posting, and the guys will say, boy, this boy won on topic. And I never used to understand what they meant by topic. I figured they have a good song, but everybody has a good topic. But what they really meant was the relevance of the song. The Juju song was about relevance. She was going to the Olympics, and she was the #1 sprinter at that time. So the whole idea of our biggest gun, and also there was the issue with crime at the time. So the biggest gun, looking at people killing each other with guns, and the fellas think they have all these big machine guns and things. But we were saying in the song that the biggest gun that we have, Julian Alfred, because in sports, when you're a top athlete, they say, boy, we have our big gun, man. In sport, that's how they look at it, you know. So the relevance was there at the time.
And also, I'd like to add the angle of how you look at the topic, of how you analyze it. Because you could have written a Julian Alfred song, a normal song with none of these metaphors or any of that. So it's just how you examine the topic and how you deal with it is also equally as important as choosing the topic itself. But every artist or creative has influences, but it made me understand how to make music yours, you know. That's one of the most important things I've learned. And I think the other things are just natural, like all my performance and the way I move. And I think that's all natural, I can't help it. Perhaps it has a lot to do with watching him over the years as I've grown up. But yeah, everything I've learned from performing like him is through watching him. So that's what I've learned over the years. But yeah, you just want people, well, Calypso is really social commentary. So you want people to get the message, to understand what's happening, to inform them if they don't know. So that's mainly what it is. And just for the Calypso fans to enjoy themselves, to give them a good performance. So whenever they pay their money, they enjoy what they see. And yeah, I feel the songs, well, if they listen in, they'll understand and get the positive messages that we try to bring out in the songs. And that's usually how we want to make them feel.
When you have a child, you'd love to see your children excel in whatever they do, you know? And when we did the first Legacy song and Calling All the Saints, I'm in the studio composing the music first. We normally do that, and then having the music. He's probably hearing it because his room is not too far. Is just, you know, above my studio, so sometimes we'd hear the music. Then we get the lyrics from Ron, and I put it into the song myself, my vocals. And once I'm satisfied, I give it to him to learn. I give him the song. If there's an issue with pitch, because I sing at a higher register than him, so then I may have to change the key and bring it down to suit him. And when he's comfortable, now he learns the song. But for me, the moment is the performance on stage, right? So basically, when I see him on stage now performing the song and executing the song, I'm emotionally touched, you know, because you know you're seeing success in the making, this sort of thing. And his first crown when he won that, I was so moved, you know, by that, because I've done it for you, go and do it on stage, and he executed perfectly. So that is the sort of feeling that you have as a father, to know that your son is doing well, you know, and is executing the way that you expected it to execute. It's a sense of satisfaction, you know.
Every year we have to watch Calypso finals, because you know Daddy in Calypso finals, and I never forget, that was 2017 when he sang why I died. Yeah, and we went into the he went up to the clouds because he was playing Derek Walker, ascending to heaven, and I never forget like just crying, just being so proud and just I don't know, like that's my father, like that's crazy, you know. And a lot of the times it was very normal because, as I say, you grew up in it. I grew up going to rehearsals and in the band room, so it was very normal for me. But just watching it all them years, it's like wow, and just realizing how important and significant it is to the whole culture. Yeah, it was very amazing to watch and finally getting into and making them proud and happy. Yeah, it's wonderful.
For young artists who want to come into Calypso, first you have to understand what you're coming into. Know what the whole Calypso art form is about. Get a little sense of what the history of Calypso, what the song's supposed to do. Alright, because you have to remember that the Calypsonian is the messenger for the people, you know. And you have to, it's a competition, that's the most important thing. So you have to decide what you're doing. Either you're coming in just for fun, just to come to the tents and sing and you know that's it, or if you're gunning to the crown. It's a competition and the competition has rules, it has a criteria for judging. So you have to know the criteria, know what in the criteria will bring you the points to win. So a lot of Calypsonians, young Calypsonians come in and they sing songs, but when you have to judge it based on the criteria, they fall short in certain areas. So you have to understand what you're coming into and make sure if you're not a writer and you have somebody writing for you, work with them with that goal in mind, to know that we have to try and put certain things in the song to score points. That's what you have to do because you're being scored based on the criteria. If you're coming in, as you may realize, a lot of young people come into the soca, so it's the same thing with the soca and the groovy. There's a criteria to judge you, so you have to make sure that your songs are geared, are well written towards the criteria, and that you perform according to what is being asked in the criteria. That's the most important thing. So when you do that, you can be guaranteed you can win. But if you don't win, at least play second or whatever the case may be. So bear that in mind. And if you're seriously interested in the art form, you have to make sure that when you come in, you can be there for a long time. There'll be some sort of longevity with your performances, and that you know you can excel and do better, do well. You know, that's the important thing. As far as I see for young persons coming, understand the art form, know what is required in the art form, and execute according to that.
Feel the vibes? Embody the spirit. Lucian Carnival. Nothing sweeter than that.